The day your mind becomes your friend is literally going to be the day where you see everything in your life starts to work. And in this video, I want to teach you how to make your mind your slave and not you becoming a slave to your mind. Because bro, like sadly, most people have literally become slaves to their minds. And they can't spawn thoughts out of nowhere. They can't bring something out of nothing. You know, it's beautiful, bro. Like we've been giving such a gift where it's not like animals. Like we can actually bring things out of nothing. But most of us have forgotten how to do that. And this is truly an issue. But I'm hoping after you watch this video, you'll notice it's like there's no difference between you and a billionaire. Or there's no difference between you and the elites. And also, you're actually in control of your luck. You're in control of your destiny. You're in control of those thoughts. But you just forgot that you were. But listen, the very first thing you're gonna realize is that you don't only have one mind. That's the issue, bro. Most people, like most of you guys, actually believe you only have this as your mind. So most of your day, most of your life is just you living here. Like you guys are just literally living up here. And you forget to realize there is like an entire ocean, an entire world, if you just focus on the stuff down here. So in reality, you've got 3 minds, not 1, but 3. So the first one is the head, the second one is the heart, and the third one is the gut. So these 3, you can call them minds or you can call them selves. And this is the thing that self-improvement doesn't get right. But in the Quran, it actually says like the first self is the self al-ammara, which is the nafs al-ammara. So this right here is the commanding self. So it's the self that you see in the belly. And this is basically your gut consciousness. So this is like the animal self. So you know how it's like you feel hunger, you feel thirst, you feel like you want to reproduce and all that stuff, or like you feel the need of like a shelter, you feel the need of comfort. All that stuff comes from here. The second self is a nafs al-ammara, which literally translates to the guilty consciousness. And that consciousness is right here. So it's basically in the head. So this is the self right here that most of you are actually using to overthink. And this is the self that most of you use to sin. And then after you sin, you feel guilty. And this is where like all these embarrassment feelings happen. But the last one is an-nafs al-mutma'inna, which basically translates to the peaceful self. The self that's actually at peace. The self that's always within tranquility. And this self is located here in the heart. It's not like the cardiovascular heart. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this center right here, the heart center. So once you actually activate the self, this is how it's almost like you transcend. Once you activate this, you don't even have the desire to go and sin. You don't have the desire to go and become like a degenerate. Like most people are like, bro, I can't quit my addiction. You can't quit your addiction because you have desire in it. Addictions are here and here. Well, most of them are actually here. And the reason why you can't quit it is because you always have desires here and here. And it's because this is not activated. Once this activates, like, you don't want to listen to music anymore. You don't want to be doing drugs anymore. You don't even want to be watching porn anymore. You don't even feel the need to go and sin anymore. And what's so sad, bro, is that no one talks about these things. Like, not even my Muslim brothers. But Habibi, like, do you wonder why stress and anxiety and overthinking and depression, do you wonder why all these things are like all-time high? Because you never learn about these things. And bro, like just the knowledge of all these things that are happening in your body, that are happening in your spirits, just the knowledge of these things, like it literally unlocks the solution to fix all the problems that are going on in your life. It's gonna help you understand why you're always overthinking. It's actually gonna help you understand why you're in depression or why you have anxiety. Like having depression, having anxiety, having overthinking and all that stuff, that's not natural. It's literally a byproduct of something else that's happening in you. It's a byproduct of you neglecting these centers. So as a result, you actually start to have a guilty consciousness. You start to have a commanding consciousness. Like, do you realize most people walk around the earth with their shoulders like this? They actually walk around with such guilty consciousness. It's like, why are you guilty? What'd you even do? Why are you so guilty? Bro, like you walk around thinking that you're some insignificant thing. And the way you talk to people, it's like you owe them something. The way you talk to people, it's like you're just feeling guilty all the time. Why is that? And look, the thing is that when you're overthinking too much, right? You're actually imprisoned right here. You're like literally a slave to the head. It's almost like you've been put in a prison right here. And then what's sad is that again, you forget there is like an entire ocean just down here that you forgot to get access to. And what's crazy is that once you actually access this whole ocean in your body, once you get out of like the head consciousness, it's almost like you'll realize there's like an entire thing that can actually just come here and support you. So one quick example of this is, so the other day I was driving, right? And the thing is that like, I like driving fast. I don't like doing things slow. Like everything I do is fast. Like I go to the barber, I'm like, how fast can you give me a haircut? And most of them just look at me like, what's wrong with you? But like, again, for me, like just for context, everything I do, I like to do it fast. I don't like slow things. So anyway, I was driving the other day and I had to go for like a meeting with like my teacher or my sheikh. And like I'm driving and I'm trying to cut a lane, right? So I'm driving on this lane, but like here there's like an ending. You can't continue here. And this guy is driving here is driving so slow. If I go like this, I need to go fast, otherwise I'm gonna hit him. So what I did is I just went so fast to the point where I was very close to hitting him and the thing here, like the ending in front of me. I didn't hit him, obviously. I just continued because, like, I'm good at driving. But, like, if you were to view it from the outside, it looks like a very close call. Like, I almost got hit by the guy, or, like, I almost caused an accident, right? So I did that. I just sped right across of him. And then what happened, obviously, like, most people when they do that, and even me when I did that, I'm just, like, sitting because there was a traffic light. So it's like you sit there, and all the people that saw you, they come. And it's like they can just turn their heads and just look at you, which is so embarrassing. So I'm sitting, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, so embarrassing. So embarrassing. But then I'm like, wait, what am I thinking? Like I was basically doing all the thinking here. But then it's like all I had to do was just go back down here. I put my awareness to the heart. I put my awareness to the gut. And all I did is just like it relieved all the overthinking. Because usually what happens, the guilty consciousness comes. And this consciousness comes and it starts to tell you, it's like, you're such a bad driver. You're such an embarrassment. Look at this person is gonna like move his head right now to look at you. It's so embarrassing. It gives you all these thoughts that are going against you. And this is what I mean by you becoming a slave to your mind. But what I did, as soon as I realized that, I just went down. Like my awareness actually went down. And then once it goes down, again, it's like you get access to this whole ocean that God has given you. So I became aware of the heart. I became aware of the gut. And all that did is just like, I used all sensors, all the minds in the body, I used them all together, and it just created like this harmony inside myself, where it's like, I just stopped thinking. There was no thinking. There was no thinking involved in it. I didn't think of the past and be like, man, I almost hit that guy. It's so embarrassing. No thoughts came to me like that. And what's crazy, what happened, after the light became green, some other guy was going, so what he did is that he pulled down the window, he stuck his head out, and he just screamed like a compliment to me. As if like what I did was like so cool, I guess. I don't know. But it's so funny because I'm like, if I actually didn't use the gut or the heart, it's almost like I would have been in this constant loop of thinking where it's like, this is so embarrassing. Like these guys actually all hate me right now. And that's the crazy part because this mind, it lies to you. It tries to distort reality. It tries to basically paint it its own way. But as soon as I didn't do that and the guy complimented, I realized I'm like, bro, like our minds, they distort and color so many things falsely. But in reality, like everything is good. It's just that you think they're bad. But in reality, they're good. And okay, let's just say some guy actually got mad at me or something. Okay, so what? That's still good. But you get my point. We're always stuck in this guilty consciousness. We're always stuck in this constant loop of overthinking that always tells you it's like, oh, you're not worth it, bro. You're such an embarrassment, bro. You shouldn't have done that, bro. What do you mean I shouldn't have done that? And again, it's like, it's something so subtle. So subtle. Like just putting your awareness back to the body. It's again, it seems like it's so subtle and it seems like I'm lying to you by saying these things, but trust me, bro, like this actually works. And it goes back to the idea that you're not the mind, you're just the one that's aware of the mind. And so when the mind constantly starts overthinking, it's like you become the mind because you're so in it. It's like this is the hole, right? You're just stuck in this hole. I'm saying like you're just stuck in this hole and you forget there's everything else around this hole. But anyway, just on a side note, I noticed that people that actually are reckless in driving, like the way I was driving, bro, they just get into less accidents than the people who are always like driving with safety. Do you know what I mean? Like, look, I'm not saying go drive reckless, and this is just a side point. I'm not saying go drive reckless, but it's just that the people who are actually driving reckless, they rarely get into accidents. But the people who are always like thinking of safety and all that stuff and just driving slow, they're the ones that always get into accidents. And I was thinking of that the other day, and I'm like, why is that? And apparently, you know why that is? Because, bro, the people that are always thinking of like safety, they're always overthinking. They're always stuck in this consciousness. They're always stuck in the head. And they forget there's everything else here. But again, I'm not saying become reckless. I'm just saying it's like when you're in touch with this whole ocean down here, you don't have to be thinking at all. Like you start doing things and the things are actually good and it's not even you thinking about it. Like think of it this way. When you're writing, for example, you know when people write, sometimes they write and then they stop because they start overthinking. But there's people, bro. There's people who when they write, they just literally do this and things just come to them. Like they literally start flowing with life and everything they say, everything they write is flawless. Like it's actually perfect. As opposed to the people who are like overthinking. It's like, oh, what should my next word be? What should my next sentence be? And then even when they actually do write like some stuff, that comes from overthinking, this stuff just seems diluted. Like it actually seems like when they wrote that stuff, it's like they literally had like a break on their life, or like a break on their hands where they couldn't actually become themselves. So that's the crazy part. When you're in touch with the stuff down here, you actually become in touch with your real self. Not the fake self that's here, but the actual real self. And what's actually amazing is that if you think about it, like life is actually always moving. Life is never stationary. Nothing is actually stationary. Even if you look at, for example, this case right here, the molecules inside this case, they're always vibrating. So if you leave this case right here, like just sitting down, and you leave it for like 1,000 years, it's gonna change how it looks. And this is the crazy part. Like everything in life is actually always moving. So once you learn to actually move with life, once you learn to actually start flowing with life, that's when it's like everything you do is flawless. Like there's no more distortion in the things that you do, or there's no more like dilution in the things that you do, because you're actually moving with life. And then it's like, if you think about it, like who's actually moving life? Bro, the creator. God is moving life. And God is flawless. So once you learn to actually flow with it, it's almost like a river. The river is always moving. And it's like when you're in the river, like, isn't it so bad to just fight the river as opposed to going along with the river and start flowing with it? Like, that's how life actually is. So at this point right now, I'm like, is there even such a thing as a mistake? Like, even when you're speaking, even when I speak, like when you're going along with life that's being run by Allah, that's being run by God, it's so funny because you start saying things like, bro, in real life, like outside the YouTube, I say things that I'm like, bro, that's so funny. Like, I'm actually such a funny boy. But then I'm like, wait, how did I actually think of that? I don't freaking know, it just came out. But then when I get into like my own way, when I start overthinking, it's like, okay, how do I start becoming even funnier? Or it's like, how do I start even becoming like better at like the speaking or the writing and all that stuff? It's just like, I start getting into my own way, and the things just, again, they seem like I have a break on them. So here's the thing. When you're overthinking, you just need to realize, man, there's actually two other minds that you're not aware of. And then once you bring your awareness to these two minds, the mind, like this mind, the real mind, the head mind, starts to relax. Like it actually starts to relax, and you'll feel it. It's almost like, you know, like when you go and lie down, it literally feels like that. The brain, the mind, actually feels relaxed. And then all these three minds, they actually start working in unison. And again, bro, it's so simple. Just bring your awareness to these things. Just bring your awareness to it, and that's it. But now listen. Most of you guys are going to be like, okay, I tried that. I tried to bring my awareness to these things. I brought my awareness to the heart, brought my awareness to the gut, but it's like nothing actually happened. So what do I do? Well, okay, listen, here's the thing. And this is actually crazy stuff. But you know how we said the gut is like the commanding self? So this is the self that actually tells you to go and drink, go and eat, go and have sex, go and like do all these things that animals do. So this self actually tells you to go and follow your desires. Like you're always having desires to do what? To eat, drink, and have sex, and that's it. That's all the desires that you have. And then what's crazy is that when this self is actually dirty, that's when these desires, when they come, they only come to turn you into like a degenerate. So when you're not in control of the self, it actually leads you to becoming a degenerate. That's why it's called nafs al-ammara. So in the Quran, it actually says the commanding self, it commands people to do evil. And why is it commanding people to do evil? Well, bro, when it's dirty, it's going to command you to do evil. And that's the crazy part. It's like, even if you look at it scientifically, and I talked about this before in another video, but it's like when your gut is not good, everything else in your life is not good. You become sick, you start just making blunders, you start making mistakes. It's like you just walk around and you hit stuff. Bro, like, why are you hitting stuff? It goes back to the gut. So once you actually control the gut, it's like you become in control of the thing that's like moving you. And by moving you, I mean like moving the body. So here's the thing, and this is actually true. The only way to actually heal your gut and to fix it is through fasting, and that's it. Which is actually insane, because, bro, like, even if you look at it scientifically, the only way to heal the gut is fasting. Like, if you were to go to like a gut expert or like a diet expert, and he tells you to heal your gut, he's gonna tell you to fast. The ones that tell you to take like probiotics or to take like some next stuff, like to add stuff, that's all stupid. The way to heal the gut is through elimination. And this is crazy because in Islam, like, we know this. That's why we're fasting. We're fasting to cleanse the whole body, to get taqwa, which is basically to get God consciousness. Because once you heal this gut, you start to notice it's like, okay, it's actually easier to think, it's easier to feel. And it's not just easier, but like the feelings and the thoughts that come, they all come from a good place. As opposed to someone who has like a dirty gut, bro, like, I can tell if someone has a dirty gut or not just by looking at them. Like, you'll see them too. And it's like, it's not just the things they do, it's like just their whole body, like their face. Like, they have acne on their face. They have diseases in their bodies. They have like eczema or whatever. It's just like you can actually see it. And it's like, why do they have these things? Because their gut is dirty. So when you're fasting, like when you're actually fasting, like you're abstaining from the things that move the gut. Like you're abstaining from food, you're abstaining from water, you're abstaining from sex as well. And it's like once you get control of this, again, like you'll notice it's like everything else in the body is easier to control. So it's like the reason why you're overthinking, bro. Like you're eating all these artificial things. Like just think about it. Everything you eat is bad for the gut. And then you wonder why you're always overthinking. You wonder why you're depressed. Bro, this is the thing that pisses me off. You know, when people actually have depression, you know what they do? Yeah, like they go to like a whatever, psychiatrist, a psychologist, whatever. But like they go to a doctor. What does the doctor do? He gives them like some next medicine, some next pill. Like, bro, what are you doing? Why are you giving them a pill? Like, okay, this pill is temporarily gonna fix whatever they have. It's temporarily gonna fix whatever that's been going on here. But Habibi, if you're trying to actually fix it, heal the gut. Like, bro, like you heal the gut, you heal everything else, you heal disease. Why are these doctors giving people so many pills and stuff? Like, that's why people are so depressed nowadays. This center, bro, this center is the commanding self. When it's dirty, it's always going to be commanding you to do evil. And by evil, again, like I'm not saying you're killing people and stuff like that, but like this actually leads you to go and watch porn. This leads you to go and like just become a degenerate, man. And this, as a result, it kills this. It kills the head center. It kills the mind. And as a result, you start to overthink because nothing's in harmony anymore. This right here, like the roots are dirty. If the roots are dirty, what's going to happen here? And then what's going to happen here? It's all just going to become broken. So when you're depressed, you don't go to a doctor and be like, give me a pill, give me an antidepressant. No, Habibi. You start to fast. You go through elimination. You heal the gut. You're done. Depression is literally healed. And then you'll also notice there's actually this meditation. It's what samurais do. So it's called the Hara meditation. You ever seen a samurai? Like, it's just the way they move is just so flawless. The way they speak is so flawless. And it's because the samurais, what they do is that they do this meditation where they sit and like they take all their awareness and bring it to the gut. They bring it to the belly. They just do it for like 20 minutes, and as a result, it's like you actually feel like a tree with very strong roots. You become a tree with strong roots. And that's why I love trees, because it's like it actually reminds you of what you're supposed to be, which is have your awareness on the guts, like expand your roots in the guts, and as a result, everything here just starts to relax because you actually have strong roots. But again, this stuff doesn't come if the gut is dirty. And the way you clean the gut is through fasting. That's it, bro. It's just through fasting. Don't tell me it's like, oh, but what about this green smoothie and stuff? There was such thing as green smoothie, just going fast. And it was beautiful, bro, is that when it's actually clean, like even the overthinking thoughts, when they come, you're able to stop it. Because once you put your awareness back here, it's like, again, you remember, it's like your roots are deep. And like, bro, it's such a beautiful way to live. Because again, like you think of, like, it's so crazy because you look at nature. It's like, why do tsunamis happen? Or why do earthquakes happen? Well, they happen because tsunamis, if you look at like so deep in the ocean, like the ground of the ocean, it's because the ground of the ocean is moving. And then as a result, everything on the surface starts to basically splash. You get tsunamis and stuff. So it's like, why are you overthinking? Bro, you're overthinking because the roots, man, they're dirty. Once you heal it, like that's it. The stuff here, the stuff on the surface level, it starts to heal. But now here's the crazy part. It's like, bro, no one talks about these things in books, man. It's so annoying. The heart. Right? Because we said the mind, the gut, and the heart. Like the heart, how do you actually connect the heart? Here's the crazy part. Once you have like all these three together, you actually start to live life in a way where you're always at peace. You're always in tranquility. You're always like, it's like you transcend the world. It's like that's how you become in the world, but not like of it. Do you know what I mean? Like you're doing all the stuff that the worldly things allows you to do and that tells you to do. But it's like, you're doing it from a place that's not actually in physics, right? It's not like in this world. It's like you're doing it from a place that's like beyond here. And that's the crazy part, because they say the only way to know God is not through the mind. The only way to know God is through the heart. But most of us haven't unlocked it because we're always overthinking and we're always eating like such bad food. So the gut and the mind are always like not in harmony. But when they become in harmony, like the heart starts to open up too. And that's why in Islam, that's why we're fasting. That's why when you pray, you do sujood, like you do prostration. You take this center and you put it on the ground, you humble it. And as a result, what's going to happen? The heart starts to get activated. So how do you actually activate it? Dhikr. Dhikr. Do you guys know what dhikr is? It's basically remembrance. Like saying subhanallah, saying alhamdulillah, saying Allahu Akbar. Like gratitude and forgiveness, those things are basically within dhikr. When you say alhamdulillah, you're asking for gratitude, or you're saying you're grateful. And then when you say astaghfirullah, you're basically asking for forgiveness. So what happens is that the heart becomes dirty when you look at bad things and when you hear bad things. So basically anything that goes in, the information that goes in, it distorts the heart, it makes it dirty. So the only way to actually clean it is through dhikr, is through asking for forgiveness and through gratitude. And this is crazy because when you activate the heart, it's like just the spirit, bro, something happens to the spirit where it's like you're not a body anymore, because you were never a body. Like you've always been the soul, and the body is just the thing that you control. but most of us have like forgotten it because we're always here. So here's the thing. I'll give you a quick analogy. Just pretend you're like in a dark room. So just pretend like I turn off the lights here, and you're in a dark room, but this room is like filled with money. But you're in the room, but it's dark. It's like, okay, is that room really useful? Like it's dark, you can't really see it. And that's how the heart, most of us, that's how our heart is. Like we're literally sitting on gold, but it's so dark, you can't really see it. And why is it dark? Again, because all the sins, man, the things that you look at, the things that you hear, all those things, it distorts the heart. So it's like, how do you actually bring light? Well, again, bro, the only way to bring light is just through dhikr, through remembrance, remembering your creator. Like, bro, when I go and read the Quran, like the Quran is like the ultimate remembrance, right? So it's like when you read it, the words just hit the heart. And it's hitting the heart because it's cleaning it. So it's like you're sitting in this dark room, and this room is all dark and stuff, but there's actually money in it. There's like actual gold money that you've never seen. I'm using money as like a metaphor. But you can't see it because it's dark, and the only way to actually light it up is through remembrance. Like go on Google right now and just search up the 99 names of Allah or the 99 names of God. When you actually take these names and you put them to the heart, like just something starts to happen where like you start shedding tears. Like, why are you shedding tears? Because this is true nature. Like you've always known this is where you belong to. Like this is the thing that you belong to. Like this is the thing that we all deeply long for. And then what's crazy is that once you get beyond the mind, and I said before, like life is always moving. It's not stationary. It's always moving. You'll notice it's like life is always moving to know itself even more. So once you get beyond the mind, like all these ego activities, for example, you'll notice it's like eventually most of us are always going to end up to wanting to know what this being is. Because again, we're all deeply longing for that. And it's like, again, like why do we even sin? Like why are you sinning? Because when you sin, you're following the gut commandments, right? And then when you do that, like the mind starts to become just a bit more quiet. But it's like, again, it's like most of us are like, we either transcend or we regress. Regressing is easier because regressing is like when you go and drink alcohol, when you go and have sex with like some girls you don't even know. But like that stuff regresses you. So you feel good because it makes your mind just a bit more quiet. But it's like, bro, you realize there's like another world where you transcend, and that's where the heart comes in. And then once you're aligned with this being, that's where you actually feel liberated, bro. That's where you're actually like actualizing your full potential. Because what happens is that once you learn the characteristics of this being, you start to embody these characteristics. It's like this being, bro, this being is pure love. Like Allah is al-Wadud, which means he's pure love. Once you start to align with this being, you become pure love. Like, why do you need to have hatred to people anymore? You won't even have hatred to people anymore. Like, you'll actually see someone that used to piss you off, but it's like, they don't piss you off anymore. And why is that? Because now you're connected. You're connected to your true nature. You've gone beyond the mind. You've gone beyond the gut. And this is where actually being real comes from. Like, why is it that sometimes you can actually tell if someone is being real or if someone's being fake? Because, bro, like, that's your true nature knows. But when you learn to be connected with the being once again, like you start to let go. You start to let go, and then you start to flow with life. And you'll notice too, it's like at this point, there's no more overthinking. Because what you did is that you've put your trust to this being once again. And I told you before, like mind, the gut, they can't know who God is. It's only the heart that can know who God is. And I'm not talking about faith, I'm talking about knowing. But yeah, man, like just honestly, just this knowledge alone is gonna open up so much magic in your life. Because it did for me. Once you're always, like throughout the day, once you always remember back, just like actually remember that this is the creator. Remember who the creator is. It's going to unlock so much more energy in your life that it's like, bro, it's a crazy world, man. Like this is how you spawn thoughts out of nowhere. This is how you spawn feelings out of nowhere. But yeah, Habibi, this is how you stop overthinking. This is truly how you stop overthinking. Like at this point, again, like for me, I don't overthink. Like you could say, I don't even think.